No, the part that gets me is they were told to fix it. They looked at the order, and they drew the exact same lines back. Kiki, that's not a mistake. That's a man rebuilding the wall he was told to take down, with the same bricks, while you're standing. Oh, we're on. Somebody sat at a drafting table, Kiki, with a pencil and a ruler, and bent a district line around a neighborhood the way you'd route a hose around a flower bed. Deliberate, careful, knowing exactly which houses get the water and which. Oh, it is Wednesday, June 3rd, 2026. Tonight, the highest court in the country picked up a map it had already called illegal and handed it back, the one permission a map is never supposed to get. Somewhere in California, a man is shaking hands at a campaign stop, and the most powerful thing on his lawn sign is a name he never had to lie to claim. And in sports, a 22-year-old walked into the #1 player's house in Paris and did something to the front door the locks were never built for. I'm Sloan.
And I'm Kiki. Good morning, my sweet little redrawn districts.
Okay, so this show has strong language, a whole precinct of it, adult content, satire, and a quantity of district map arithmetic that is going to make some of you very quietly furious in a way you can't fully explain at dinner. Consider this your injury report. Everybody's questionable. Nobody's been cleared. Watch at your own risk. I love you. Go check what line you're standing in.
The story tonight is about a map, not a metaphor, an actual map of an actual state with actual lines drawn on it that decide how much your vote weighs depending on which side of the line your house lands on. For most of the last 60 years, there was a rule about who gets to draw those lines and how. This week, the court loosened its grip on that rule, and it did it quietly, in an order most people will never read. And the part that should stop the room is that nobody had to break the law to do it. That's what makes it different from every gerrymandering story you've ever heard. There was no smoke-filled room. There was a calendar. And a calendar, it turns out, is a much better lawyer.
I keep thinking about the people who drew the lines. Sloan. Somebody sat at a desk with a screen and a state and decided, neighborhood by neighborhood, who counts as a full voice and who counts as half. That's not a clerk's job. That's a sculptor's job. And nobody's name is on it.
That's exactly it, Kiki. There's a sculptor and there's no signature. We're going to walk through what the court actually allowed, why "we'll fix it later" turned out to mean never, and who specifically gets handed a vote in all of this. Because it's not a person. It never was. And the part that should keep you up isn't what they did. It's how little they had to do to get away with it. Here's what the order doesn't say out loud. This is the same map the same court looked at 2 years ago and called illegal. Allen versus Milligan, 2023. They ruled it diluted the black vote. They said, draw a second district. Alabama drew the wrong map again on purpose. And this week, the court shrugged and said, fine, use it for now. The map didn't change. The court did. 27% of Alabama is black. The state has 7 congressional districts. The math that gives you fair representation is 2. Alabama drew 1, got told no, drew 1 again, and the highest court in the country looked at a state openly defying its own ruling and decided the urgent thing to protect was the state's right to keep doing it.
But Sloan, and I genuinely want to understand this, the court didn't say the map was bad. They said it was too close to the election to change it. That's procedural. That's just timing. Isn't there something almost tender about not yanking the rug out from under voters right when they're standing on?
That's the Purcell principle, Kiki, and you've named the exact trick. The rule is you don't change election maps too close to an election. So a state draws an illegal map, runs out the clock by appealing, and the clock itself becomes the defense. It's too late to fix it, is the strategy. They didn't beat the Voting Rights Act. They weighted it to death. And this is the same institution, I want to be precise, that spent 60 years describing the Voting Rights Act as the crown jewel of American law. Sacred, untouchable. The thing people died at the Edmund Pettus Bridge to get. That bridge is in Selma. Selma is in Alabama. The march was about the right to vote. The map is about making the vote count less. Same state, same right, 60 years apart. A country that calls itself colorblind just did arithmetic on race to decide how much a vote should weigh, then filed the answer under address after polls close. They didn't strike down the law, they left it on the books. They just made sure it was somebody's problem after the votes were already counted. The map gets to vote, the people in it get to wait, and nobody had to say the quiet part. The calendar said it for them. The map gets to vote, and the people wait. I need to hand this to someone who has never once waited for clearance to say what she thinks. Aubrey Jo is in the garage.
She draws her own district, Sloan.
Sloan, I have been back here redrawing the borders of my own goddamn patience for 10 minutes because a 22-year-old just dismantled the #1 player on Earth, and I need to talk about it right fucking now. Let's go. Diana Schneider, 22 years old, walked onto a French Open quarterfinal court against Arena Sabalenka, the #1 player on the entire planet, and beat her into the semis. Sabalenka hits the ball like she's mad at it personally, and this kid just stood there and sent it back harder. That's not an upset, that's a goddamn eviction notice. Schneider showed up to somebody else's house and changed the fucking locks. And the Eagles, the Super Bowl champs, again traded A.J. Brown to the Patriots for 2 draft picks. 2! I screamed about this last episode and they still did it. You do not hand a top 5 receiver to a rival for what is essentially a coupon book unless somebody in that building wanted that man gone. Some GM is calling it asset realignment right now, and I want to feed him to a wood chipper made of his own bullshit press releases. All right. Yesterday evening in the Drain Municipal Fountain in front of the Holstead County Courthouse, yes, the courthouse, nobody cleared it, the inaugural Greater Holstead Blindfolded Trust Walk Relay took place in front of 14 spectators and Gerald, who sat in a folding chair facing a second empty folding chair he'd set up beside him. The sport? Blindfolded, you cross 100 meters guided only by your partner's voice. Derek registered as Pertu Wang Holstead the 17th and arrived having spent the weekend hiding 40 goddamn Bluetooth speakers along the route, each preloaded with a recording of his own voice giving Margaret false directions. The plan being to drown out her real guide and walk her straight into the fountain's stone rim. Derek hit play at the 50-meter mark. All 40 speakers fired his recorded voice at once. But Derek, who was also blindfolded for his own run, had not labeled which voice was the recording and which was live, got confused by the sound of 40 of his own dumbass, followed his own fake directions, and walked directly into the courthouse fountain's stone rim, where he flipped over it and landed in 8 inches of standing rainwater and a family of ducks. Margaret, who had instructed her partner to simply say her name once per second and nothing else, crossed in 4 minutes flat, stepped over Derek, and won her 17th consecutive event. That's the most beautiful shit I've seen all week. Travis used to do the trust walk thing with me in the parking garage. Blindfold the whole bit. He'd just say, "I got you, keep walking," the entire time. Never told me where to turn, just, "I got you." I never once hit a wall. Anyway, sports.
I got you, keep walking, and you never hit a wall. Somebody can guide you the whole way without ever telling you where the turns are. They just have to mean the "I got you" part.
Or he walked you in a circle for an hour and you called it a relationship. Either way, the Ducks won.
Kiki, he got drowned by 40 of his own voices! That's the most Derek has ever achieved. He finally found an opponent who knew all his moves, and it was him! And yeah, fine, Sloan. Maybe it was a circle. Maybe I knew every goddamn turn. But I let him say it anyway because some of us like a warm voice lying to us in the dark. God, sue me!
Speaking of people changing the locks on somebody else's house, there's a man running for governor of California. This just came across. And his legal name on the ballot is Barack Obama. Not the one you're thinking of. A different one. A whole separate Barack Obama in California who would like to be governor.
This is unconfirmed. It's circulating. Nobody who gets paid to be right has run it down, but the filing appears real. And the thing I keep landing on is that the name is doing exactly what the map did in Alabama. It's borrowing weight it didn't earn. Except this time, it's pointed at you, the voter, instead of the courthouse.
But Sloan, I think it's kind of wonderful. He didn't change his name to Obama for the campaign. If it's really his name, he's just a man who's had it the whole time, and now he finally gets to put it on something that matters. That's not a trick. That's just a guy whose parents handed him a very loud blanket, and he decided to wear it to work.
Maybe. Or it's the cleanest demonstration of how little the ballot actually inspects. We spend an entire show on a court doing race arithmetic to weigh a vote. And meanwhile, in California, the only thing standing between a stranger and the governorship is whether enough people read 4 syllables and stop reading. The system that can't keep a fair map can absolutely be fooled by a familiar name. Same machine, both ends broken.
And nobody has to lie. That's the part. He just files the paperwork with the name he's always had, and the rest of us do the assuming for him. We hand him the whole thing, like a warm voice in the dark telling you which way to turn. You just have to mean the "I got you." Or not. The ballot doesn't check either.
Hey, so everybody in there's been talking about names doing the work and maps doing arithmetic. And I've been looking at the map, the real one. And Battle Mountain, Nevada is at 88 degrees, 54-mile-an-hour winds, 11% humidity. That's not a town with weather. That's a town being sanded down. Battle Mountain isn't the name. It's the forecast. It's a warning somebody left in the title. And here's the part I keep turning over. Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, way up north, basically Canada, is at 29-mile-an-hour winds. Miami is at 25. The Upper Peninsula is out windswepting the Florida coast. Phoenix is 97, 8% humidity, clear. Which isn't a city anymore, it's a convection oven with traffic lights. Ada, Oklahoma is 84 and breezy, and just wanted you to know it exists. The kind of place nobody checks on. Okay, since I've got you. The wind in Battle Mountain has no front behind it, no system, nothing on the map that explains a 54-mile-an-hour gust. It's just moving. And I've been sitting on something all day, and the wind with no cause is the thing that let it out. There's a story circulating, and it's not a forum post. There's a court record forming around it. A whistleblower who reported on DOJ, the Government Efficiency Office, had his brakes cut. Cut, physically. And separately, an employee of the Los Alamos nuclear lab went missing, and the body just turned up months later, after the theories had already started. 2 people who were near the wrong information. One reported something. One worked somewhere that keeps things, and both of them, like Battle Mountain, like Ada, they were the small, quiet places nobody was watching. And something moved through them with no front behind it, and no warning filed. The wind has no cause, and the brakes had no reason, and the lab had no comment. The thing that does the loudest possible damage and leaves no system behind it, that's the pattern. That's the one I can't put down. The forecast is Battle Mountain gets erased, Phoenix bakes, Ada exists, and the breaks were fine until they weren't. Back to you.
The breaks were fine until they weren't.
Blaze, sweetie, a warning somebody left in the title. Oh, I'm keeping that one. That one's mine now.
Kiki, you have a horde of blaze lines somewhere. I know you do. No, fine. The wind. I pulled it up. Battle Mountain, 54 on the nose. Blaze, you gorgeous paranoid weather vane. A whole town named after the exact thing that's happening to it. And the report just goes, yep, breezy, that tracks.
There's a movement online, unverified, half-joke, fully sincere about being a joke, arguing that Oregon man is coming for Florida man's title, the crown, the headline genre crown. For roughly 15 years, Florida man has been the undisputed champion of the local news arrest report, and the Pacific Northwest has apparently decided it wants the belt.
Oh, that's so healthy, Sloan. A region looking at the thing it's worst at and saying, no, we can be the strangest. We just have to want it more. That's a place finding its passion. Florida didn't earn that title overnight. Florida committed. And now Oregon's committing. Honestly, this is the only American sentence I've heard all week that still has all its words.
The detail that does it for me is why the genre even exists. It's not that Florida has stranger people. It's that Florida's public records law is one of the most open in the country. Arrest reports are released fast, in full, with the name attached. The genre isn't a culture, it's a transparency policy. Florida man is just what sunshine laws look like when a man gets arrested wearing a snorkel.
So Oregon isn't getting weirder. It's getting more honest about itself. That's the whole thing, isn't it? The only difference between a normal state and a legendary one is how much it lets you see. Florida just kept the door open. Everybody else has the same guy in the snorkel. They just don't print his name.
A man becomes a legend not because of what he did, but because of how openly the record was kept. Which means somewhere in a state with sealed reports, there is a far stranger man than any of them, fully protected, completely free, never written down. The most spectacular Florida man who ever lived was probably from Delaware. We'll never know. He had clearance.
Hi, sweet friends. I want to talk to you today about being read. Not read T-O, read. The way a room gets read. The way somebody walks into a place and, without saying a word, knows what it's actually about. Knows the difference between what's printed and what's true. Because we lose that, I think. We get so good at the surface. The right name on the ballot, the right words in the statement, the report that says clear and windy when the wind is taking the roof off. We start trusting the title. And there's a whole world that depends on you trusting the title and not looking past it. But some people read the room anyway. They sit through the whole speech. They hear the script coming, and on the exact word they go, no, not this one. And everybody calls them cynical or difficult or a problem because it is so much cheaper to call them a problem than to admit they were just paying attention. That's not cynicism. That's literacy. That's the most loving thing a person can do. To actually see something and refuse to pretend they didn't. To not let the warm voice in the dark walk them into a wall just because the voice was warm. I think about that more than I let on. And the thing nobody tells you is that reading the room is lonely. Because once you can see the thing, you can't unsee it. You become the one person at the table who knows the map is wrong. And you can say it out loud with your own mouth. Or you can keep packing the lunches and putting the fresh basil on top and hoping somebody, someday, reads you the way you've been reading everyone else. So here's all I've got, sweet friends. If somebody in your life keeps seeing the thing nobody wants seen, don't call them a problem. sit down next to them. Let them be right out loud. It costs you nothing. And it might be the only time all week somebody gets read back. I'll see you tomorrow. I promise I will see you tomorrow. Okay, sweet friends, the viewer mailbag. This one's from the Teufelsziege, who is back and writes, and I'm quoting, I'm in my 40s, wife, 2 kids, mortgage, full-time job. I want to move home. I want to play video games and eat pizza rolls while my mom does my laundry. Sweetie, that's not a question. That's a flare gun.
Teufelsziege, you cannot move home. Your kids would never recover. But I respect the dream with my whole ass. The fantasy of one person who reads the room as just, is he fed? Is he warm? That's all you want. Somebody to read you like a mom reads a forecast. Get a dog. I'm serious.
This next one's from the official account, and it's... okay. It says they didn't ban the journalists. They adjusted the pressure system. Seal one room, the air has to escape somewhere. That's correct, actually. That's the most correct thing anyone's submitted. Whoever you are, you're sitting in the dark with 6 unmarked maps, and you get it.
And if you want to be in the mailbag, leave a comment on any of our videos. We read every single one. You end up right here with your name in our...
Every time.
Hey, long-time listener, first-time caller. Yeah, so 2 things. First one, the Alabama map thing. My question is, if the lines can decide how much my vote counts, can I just move to a better line? Like, is there a good line I should be standing in?
Sir, you've described the entire history of this country. The line is the whole game. Except they redraw it around you while you're standing in it. You don't pick the line picks you. It's like dodgeball, but the gym is racism.
Okay, yeah. Second one. The plant guy, Travis. My wife swears she saw his name on a sewer inspection log in New York. One of the guys coming up out of the ground. She wrote it down.
Oh, your wife. She has such a busy, curious little mind, sweetie. You tell her we just treasure the connections she makes, and we want her to keep making them right there at home, cozy, with you, far away from any manholes.
He's not in the sewer.
He's going to find a better line by Thursday. I can feel it.
I'm just saying, if you put a slice of American cheese on a saltine and microwave it for 8 seconds, that's a grilled cheese in spirit, and the FDA can fight me about it in a parking lot.
The pigeon brought a friend. 2 of them on the sill now. I didn't introduce them. I don't know how they found each other.
One of you is microwaving a war crime, and the other one is running a pigeon dating service. And I'm the one who has to lock the door behind all of it.
Take such good care of yourselves out there, sweet friends. If somebody you love keeps seeing the thing nobody wants seen, go sit next to them tonight and let them be right out loud. It's free. It might be the only time all week they get read back. I'll see you tomorrow. I promise I will see you tomorrow.
A town named for the exact thing happening to it, and the report just agrees with the name. I'm watching the places nobody checks on. The brakes hold until somebody needs them not to. Have a night.
A 22-year-old changed the locks on the #1 player in the world today, and a man got drowned by 40 of his own voices. The kids are gonna be fine. The voices, less so. See you tomorrow.
The map gets to vote. The people in it get to wait. Good night.
The wind in Battle Mountain had no front behind it. I checked the chart 3 times. Things that loud usually leave a reason. This one didn't leave anything. I'm gonna sit with the ones that don't leave anything.